I don't know enough yet. Yeah, that's one. I don't know enough yet. That's an insecurity or that's a limiting belief. And the next one is, who am I to do this? You're telling yourself that, or you're asking yourself this, who am I to do this? Have you ever asked yourself any of those questions? Put it in the chat, let me see. I don't know enough yet, or who am I to do this? Share with us. And I would love to hear, when was the last time you said that? Hey, Talk with Marie. I want to bring you up to connect with
Any
me.
screen below. Looks
Okay.
like I'm right there.
I see it. I see it below. Okay.
Oh, it's so small.
It's so small.
Is that one I feel like that one has a name. Is this the one where you feel like you're there but you like, where am I here? There's a name for it. Imposter syndrome?
Imposter syndrome. It could
Okay.
fall in that category, definitely.
Okay.
Imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome, indeed. So many people suffer with that and they don't realize that they do. Some people do and they don't know the name or where it came from or how it happened. Or even the most impactful piece is, how do I manage it? How do I deal with it? How do I keep moving forward? Managing imposter syndrome. And it's so interesting that a lot of people that struggle with this are mostly women. Men do too, but it's mostly women. And these are women who are very brilliant in their field, very knowledgeable, very skilled, over knowledgeable, to be honest with you. A lot of them have multiple degrees, have been over schooled. They know so much information and yet they struggle. So today I just want to talk about two that came to mind. I don't know enough yet. I hear people say that a lot. I don't know enough, or who am I to do this? And when you say, who am I to do this? What comes to mind is you're staying attached to the old version of yourself. Because when you say, who am I to do it? You're diminishing who you're becoming. Maybe in the past you didn't feel smart enough, strong enough, you didn't know a lot. And that's okay to identify where you are. But if you want to get more out of life, if you want to do better, if you want to succeed in your relationships, in your career, in your work, in your health, in your wealth, who am I to do this is the wrong question to ask. It's really the wrong question to ask, because how many of you know when you ask a question, the brain is such a powerful tool that it has an answer for you. So if we ask the wrong question, we're going to get the wrong answer. So it's important that we ask ourselves the right question, right? So put in the chat. Have you ever said, who am I to do this? So if you didn't say that, what version of that have you asked yourself? What version of that have you said to yourself? Who am I to do this? Minimizing yourself, minimizing your power, your strength.
So for you, I have a question. Were you always like, I belong in the room, or is it something you built up over time where you build your confidence and say, I belong in every room?
Well, I'm so glad you asked that question, because some of these questions that I was asking earlier, I don't know enough yet. That one I used to say a lot. I used to tell myself, I need more degrees, I need more certifications, I need more, I need more, I need more, until one day it just dawned on me, like, wait a minute, I need some ROI. You have all these things. When last did you use it? What are you getting from it? How are you using it? And sometimes we are told in certain rooms that we go in, you need to have this and you need to have that. And I used to hang out in that place for a long time thinking I needed to have more commas behind my name in order to be listened to, in order for people to take me serious. And after a while, watching and observing different people, as a matter of fact, I had an experience with listening to Steve Harvey one day. I was listening to something randomly, just scrolling social media, and I heard Steve Harvey. He was sharing that I think at one point he had someone that he was hired to do something, and they also hired someone to help correct his demeanor, his presentation, how he speak, and certain words he used. And he's like, no, this is who I am. You know, this is how I show up. All of that you want me to do is not going to happen. And I look at Steve and I said, you know, I could learn a lot from Steve because Steve shows up as himself. His grammar is not perfect and mine isn't, and mine wasn't at the time. And I was like, I'm holding myself back because I'm thinking I need to speak with more fluence, more, you know, proper English. No, you know, all my grammar is perfectly corrected. And I was standing in the way. And to be honest, I can't tell you when I snapped out of it, but I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad I snapped out of it.
You probably didn't
I
even know.
really,
Probably when you start training the muscle, you just started
yeah.
being that, and then you let it go.
Mm-hmm.
Because
You
that's
know,
it's distracting, right?
it
Because
is.
even for some people, I've heard about accent. And there
Mm-hmm.
are people I'm like, I understand you. Like, I hear what they're saying, but I'm like, I don't have that problem as a listener. So I don't know
Mm-hmm.
why this is in your mind that I can't understand. But that can block you because you think something is
Yes.
happening. I'm not saying
Mm-hmm.
it's in your head because some people do make a big deal about that. But
Mm-hmm.
you, as a professional,
Mm-hmm.
it's not a weakness the way you think it's a weakness that can get in your way
Mm-hmm.
versus you making it get in your way. It's almost like a self
Absolutely.
sabotage.
Yes, and that was part of my self-sabotage because as a girl from Jamaica, I remember I went to junior high school, like 1 year of junior high school here, and then high school. And I went to high school in a predominantly white area up in Brooklyn. And being out of 20 odd kids, I was two black kids in the class. And the other black guy, he was light skinned. So I stood out. I was the darkest one in there. And of course, in the Caribbean, we don't pronounce the letter Z like the American. We say Z, and certain words we pronounce different. And you say schedule here, we say schedule. So adjusting to different things and being mocked and being laughed at or being asked multiple times to say something over and over because you didn't pronounce it the way they're used to it. I got so self-conscious and I realized that was standing in the way as I got older because I never let go off of it from high school. I brought it into college. I brought it into my everyday life. And that was holding me back so much. And when I knew that I really wanted to speak, I wanted to teach, I was all in my head, all in my head about my accent. But listening to Steve Harvey one day, it just went right after that. I was like, if Steve can make the money and do all these things, where am I stop? Why am I continuing to do this thing? You know?
So have you
So
talked about how do we let all that stuff go this year as we
I,
wrapping up? How we gonna let it go?
yeah, that's a very good point. I've touched on it in a few videos, but I'll
Okay.
definitely speak to it here. One of the things that we need to really get present to is identify those things as you assess 2025. What went well? Three questions you're going to ask yourself. What went well? And get present to all of it. Just list it all. Just list it all on a piece of paper or in a notebook or whatever, someplace to capture your thoughts. And then ask yourself, what didn't go well? And get present to that too. And then the third question is, what can I learn from what didn't go well? So if you go back to the what didn't go well, if you recognize that your accent was one of those things that stood in the way, or because you're an introvert, or because you don't have all the certificates or all the degrees behind your name, get present to that and realizing that these are some of the things that I'm thinking. These are some of the things that's causing me not to be where I would like to be. And in identifying that, that's where you get in touch with a coach like myself that can help you now figure out strategies so that 2026 can look differently. Because it is important that you don't carry the same behavior from one year into the next year if you want to change things. Because Einstein said it's insanity to do the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So if you want a different result, if you want a better outcome, it's important for you to get present to the things that didn't go well, the things that you missed, the things that you wish you coulda, shoulda, woulda, but you didn't. What are those things? And bring them into the space where you can connect with a coach. As a matter of fact, I'm having a workshop on January 20th that will touch upon some of these things to get your year started. So the January 20th at 6 p.m., I'm going to be teaching virtually how to have the best of your friends, because the spots are going and I need to have you there. So I want you to make sure that at the end of our talk here, you go in my bio and click on the link and register, because I want you to be able to experience a new and better year than you had last year. I want you to experience something different, something more robust, something more fulfilling. Stop making excuses, right? We have to walk it out with intention. We have to walk it out with action. So if we no longer want to let those limiting beliefs rob us, those insecurities rob us from the outcome that we want, if we no longer want to let imposter syndrome steal from us, it is time to get present to all of the things that did not go so well in 2025 so you can create the 2026 that you want. We have to be intentional and we have to be involved. I don't know enough yet. That was part of my kryptonite. It got me every time because I thought I needed multiple degrees. And then I started to look at people who didn't have a degree. They didn't even go to college. They dropped out of college. And yet they were doing so well. So I had to find my rhythm and I had to engage in coaching to get my mindset right. And it's all about mindset. How we think matters. What we think about ourselves, whether we say it out loud or not, matters. And so the two questions that's on the table, Coach Yvette, I know you're just joining us, is I don't know enough yet. Have you ever had that experience? Have you talked to people about that in your space of coaching? And what are some things that you shared with them to get through that?
Well, hi everyone. Hi, Coach Julia.
Hi.
Well, I think it is a human condition
Mm-hmm.
that we think the more we have, the more we're going to have in terms of knowledge and what we learn.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my older mentors said once, he said, you don't have to be good to start,
Mm-hmm.
but to be good to start, but to be good, you have to start.
Mm-hmm.
So, and sometimes we're waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for to
Mm-hmm.
have, okay, that one degree, another one, so many before you start, and that day never come. And it's like you have to start, and on the way, you will learn more. You will master the art of what is it you're serving, the product or the service that you're giving,
Mm-hmm.
and it's by doing and not by really having more degrees that's going to make it happen. You have to be willing to start to say, you know what? You
Mm-hmm.
have something that can help not only your community and that
Mm-hmm.
and beyond. You got to be willing to go at it in spite, um, the odds.
Mm-hmm.
And something that is worth doing, it worth doing bad enough until you get it right.
Yeah, thank you for that. That is so true. Welcome, Jaden. Welcome, Jack. Welcome, Mike. Welcome, Mizan. Thank you, Coach, for that. So many people want to wait for the perfect time to jump in and do something. And I stopped by here today to tell you, to remind you, to ring the bell. There's no such time as perfect, except now. Doing it now, do it messy, do it wobbly, do it shaky. Hi, Pete. But doing it, if you don't do it, you won't know what's in you because we learn the lesson and we tap into the lessons and draw them out from the areas that just didn't go well. What did you learn from that experience not going well? And when we hear the word, the phrase, I don't know enough yet, sometimes we think, I don't deserve this. And that's self-sabotaging yourself. And you push yourself away from opportunities. Because when opportunities show up, you may not be ready, but you need to be ready for, at least be curious about it, to step in and see what it's all about.
Yes, I want to jump in real quick because of what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
We think we don't deserve it. And I learned not too long ago that the word deserve and sometimes why we
Mm-hmm.
don't do or get certain things is because we think we don't deserve it. And I
Mm-hmm.
think the mindset that you are really one of one of your flagship, teaching is the mindset. The
Mm-hmm.
mindset is to really increase our deserve level.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so our deserve level is it's too low. So we have to increase our deserve level, knowing that we deserve it, and we have to go
Mm-hmm.
after it. But it requires a mindset change. It's required to see things in your way, as when I say, required to change the way we look at things. And when you change the way you look at things, the things that you see
You
will
look at
change.
what
You look at will
change.
change, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's how it is. That's why I'm increasing our deserve level. I think 2026, change your mindset to increase your deserve level. Once you know you deserve it, your
Mm-hmm.
soul will demand sovereignty. Your soul will require you to step up the plate and make it happen.
Yeah, yeah. And as you were saying that, it took me to another phrase I hear people with. They would say, what if I fail? I'm like, okay, that's a fact. I mean, you can fail, right? It's possible. But here's the thing. What if you win? Can we hang out in the positive what ifs and just wrap that up and go deep and go crazy with the what if? What are you going to do? Who are you going to do it with? Where are you going to go? What's going to happen? What difference you're going to make? Get all excited about the what if possible. What if it work out, right? What if this thing that you're thinking that's not going to work out, what if it does? Are you ready? What if it does? Do you have all you need? Do you have all the people? Do you have all your ducks in order? What if it does turn out that that deal came through tomorrow? As you open up your mouth, you met somebody in the elevator or you make a phone call and you didn't think anything of it. But this opened up the door to what you were concerned about, what you desired, what you wanted. What if you just go crazy and go down that rabbit hole in the positive what if? What do you think would happen? Anybody can chime in the chat. Share with us. What are those things you think would happen if you hang out in positive what ifs? And while we wait, for those of you who just joined us, we're talking about, things that's robbing us of the future that we would like to have. And on January 20th, I'm having a workshop, a virtual workshop, how to have your best year ever. And the only way to do that is to, one, look at this year, the current year you're in, and see all the things you accomplished and see all the things that you missed or just didn't happen or fell through the cracks. And then ask yourself, what can I learn? And it's in the learning that you now can create that new year. So create some time in your calendar for self-reflection. Have that time when you assess your life, you assess your goals, which one you accomplished, which one just didn't happen, or it happened, but it wasn't as strong as you would have liked it to. How can you fix it and improve it going forward? So I would love for you to join me. The link is in my bio. So you can click on it. You can put me on pause right now and go over there and grab your seat, grab your spot. Because I want you to have the best year ever. Because I no longer want you to hang out in, I don't know enough yet. That was me for many, many years. Thinking because of my accent, I couldn't speak, I couldn't teach, I didn't have the right words to say. I need more eloquent, I need more commas behind my name. But how many of you know even though you have all these degrees, if you don't have authenticity, if you can't share your story with impact so it can inspire, motivate, and cause people to change their life, all the degrees in the world is not going to do a darn thing for you.
You just grabbed my thought. I was just gonna say to you, based on the clients that you have, because I know you work with people at different level, and I used to think the more degrees, the more professional, the more awards. And sometimes I'm shocked at the people where I'm just like, they actually are recognizing their field, and yet that this is like their own self image of themselves. So what have they told you? Because now when you start working with them, again, many people, like when you did your workshop, you talk about successful people, because sometimes you assume it's people who have not reached or achieved much. But it's shocking to me that it's people who've done some amazing things
Yes.
and they don't see it. I'm like, how do you not see your own success?
You know, here's
With
the phrase I
receipts.
always use. When you're in the frame, you cannot see the picture. And every successful person that you know of, that you have seen out there in the social media space, if you were to have a conversation with them or research them, you will notice that each one of them have at least a minimum of 4 coaches in their lives, either currently or they have had. They have a coach in for their spiritual for their spiritual life. They have a coach for their health and wellness. They have a coach with their money. They have a financial advisor or someone to teach them on crypto and stock market and whatever else that they invest in. And they have a coach for their relationships. If you want to be successful in every area, you need someone to help you see what you don't see. Because another thing that I find with these very smart people, and thank you for even bringing that up, Dr. Marie, because I'll share that story after this, is what I notice about them. They tend to get caught up in imposter syndrome. And like I was saying before, women tend to have that a lot. They are scared to ask for the money because they're doing the work, yet the male counterpart is getting paid more than they are. The other thing is that women tend to second guess themselves, because I have a few clients right now who work in a male dominant industry, like in the engineering field. And there's just a handful of women, and they're brilliant. And through the interview process, they blew it out in the water, and they were invited to come to the table and say, you know what, bring your expertise to this company. Yet they second guess themselves because they start looking, oh my God, I'm the only one in the room. Oh my God, this and oh my God, that. Forgetting that they saw something in you to invite you into the space in the first place. So you now need someone, a coach like myself, to help remind you why you were in the room in the first place. Don't get lost in the sauce of, okay, there's a lot of testosterone in the room. Bring your flavor, bring your expertise, bring your authenticity. Just bring it on. Does that help you?
Does. I mean, I think it's just seeing it, it's just a little surprising because because we see it, and that's the shocking sometimes. I mean, I've had that experience where people see things I don't even see as like worth celebrating or
Yep.
seeing it even as a strength. And so, I can see thinking like, okay, I'm at this level, I don't need the help, versus looking back, even this year, looking back and seeing so many things that could have happened that were even possible.
Yes.
And then you didn't take the chance because you don't think, right? But other people may see it in you, but you don't see it in yourself, but what have your client told you? Because some of them, if they take that step and say, you know what, let me ask somebody to walk me or guide me through this, because after failing, not them failing, but the thing that they're aiming for, after not getting their target, finally, I'm hoping they'll say, you know what, I need somebody to show me the way. Just like, what do I need to
Exactly.
do?
Yeah. So that question is asked all the time. And that's why they come to coaching, because they realize by themselves that it's like treading water. It's like, I'm doing this. I have this lady. She is, her goal is to get the director title. And the carrot has been dandled so many times. She was told that back in, I think it was April, that they were going to, put her name in the hat for her to be considered to get her director title. April came and left. She didn't say anything. It didn't happen. The next round is in August. We're now in December. And I've had 2 back-to-back conversations with her because she has yet to address the elephant in the room. They told you they were going to put your name out there to be considered. And yet it didn't happen. And you didn't advocate for yourself. You didn't ask a question. So our process right now is to craft that process as to how she's going to approach it. What is she's going to say? She's going to build up her arsenal. All these things that you said, I needed these particular skills. I needed these particular things under my belt. I have all of that. Box check, done. I did this. I did that. You told me I need this class. I need this certification. I needed to take on these extra assignments, these stretch assignments. Did that. Yet, still, I haven't heard anything from you. And the reality is we have to learn to advocate for ourselves. And some people are timid when it comes to that. They were never taught how to speak up for themselves, or because, again, the environment they're in, they feel like if they speak up, they would be looked at a different way. So I help them to craft that pitch, that tone, using open-ended question versus pointing fingers, like saying you said and you didn't know. You go in there asking, I was told this didn't happen. Help me understand what I missed. Just different ways to get them to give you the answer versus you telling them from your space of hurt or disappointment. One of the other things that challenged me in my early years of coaching was that because I didn't have a lot of commas behind my name, I didn't have all this certification. I wasn't yet trained by well-known John Maxwell, and I didn't have my ICF, and there were other coaches out there doing this without even any quote unquote coaching title. They just gave themselves the title. And when I would have people select me as their coach, I would sabotage that thing, because when they told me I have 2 masters and I have an MBA and I'm going for my PhD, I'm sitting there, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Why am I even talking to these people? I don't have none of that. And the day I got a hold of I had a download and an epiphany. I was like, okay, Sheila, drop the title. You are in the driver's seat. You're the one who know what they need to know. Now forget about their MBAs and PhDs and all the other comma, and lean into your gift, lean into your understanding of what their problem is and the path that you have for them and all of this. Just lean into that. And I had to talk myself off of the ledge of, oh my God, I need to just quit this, exit the space, and throw in the towel. When I understood that I'm chosen, when I understood I'm on assignment, I'm on purpose, I am here to help them get breakthroughs. I am here to help them make a difference and help them to win in their relationship at work, help them to resolve their problem. I'm part of the solution. My mindset shifted, and that opened up the door. So I still get people come in and they want to give me all the list of accolades that they have. And I say, okay, good to know. Now tell me your issue and what have you done by yourself? And how far have you gotten? That's all I need to know. Because once I know that, then I know how I come in, right? Thank you all for being here. Everybody that joined. I see Yvonne here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Throw your question in the chat. You can ask Coach anything. We're looking at the things that's tripping us up, the things that's standing in our way. And the phrase that we threw out there earlier is, I don't know enough yet. That's one phrase. And the other one is, who am I to be doing this? And these are 2 phrases, sabotages, self-limiting beliefs that I used to say to myself many moons ago. And I'm so glad, so glad I don't say that anymore. Anything else from the panel? Any other questions? Welcome, WB. Who am I to do this? Whenever we say that, we're keeping ourselves attached to our old self. Because how many of you know, wherever you see the word impossible, if you look at it long enough, and if you shift your mindset and go straight in to the M and the P and just create a space and push it away, the I am go to one side and possible go to the other. And there's a space right there. And now when you zoom out and look at it, it no longer says impossible. What it does say now is, I am possible. And you read that with an attitude. You read that, say, wait a minute, it was impossible. But now that I shifted my mindset as to how to look at this thing, It's now possible because I am possible. And how many of you know that everything you say after the words I am, you are making it a reality. You're calling it into your life, into your present, and possible into your future if you're not careful, right? And we all want to experience good, excellent things. So you have to speak those things out of your mouth, that which you want to desire and experience. You can't go around walking around calling yourself, I'm an idiot, I'm no good, I'm not enough. Because you know what? You're going to experience more of that. And whether you say it out loud or just think about it and you ruminate on it in your head, it's going to go on and on and on in your life until you interrupt it. You have to have a suddenly moment like I had. After hearing Steve Harvey speaking, I'm like, I can do this with accent and all. I got something to say. I got something to say. I have some nuggets that I want to share with other people. I want to help free some people, being authentic and share my story. As someone who have gone through a divorce, I tell you, the early stages of that, I didn't tell people about that because I was very self-conscious. But when I leaned into the lessons that I have learned from that, what I had to do is recreate. I don't have the acronym here with me, but recreate what divorce meant for me in my life then so that I can stand on it now. What I can tell you, that D in the divorce reminded me to be determined and to be decisive about who are you now after the divorce? Who are you now? Who do you want to become? Who do you want to be known as? And be determined and be decisive to make it happen. And this woman here had to rise above all the negative chatter that was in my head. I had to override it. And that's my goal in creating the workshop in January 20th at 6 p.m. Eastern. How to have the best year ever. I want each and every one of you on this call right now to be there. Click the link in my bio. Put me on pause and slide over there. Click the link and register and invite 5 of your friends. I want the room full with you and your friends and your family who want to experience the best year ever. And the best year ever is I'm going to be helping you to remove roadblocks in the way you think. Remove the clutter. Remove the clutter from your life. When we remove clutter, clutter is not just a pile of paper in a corner in your room or a pile of clothes. It's more than that. Some of us have clutter in our minds that we need to clean out with those negative thoughts, those thoughts that are not serving us, those thoughts that are robbing us of the future that we desire. All because we went through some disappointments. We went through some pain. And we're allowing the residual of the pain to rob us of the future that we can have. Right? How many of you know that pain is your teacher? You've got to step back after you've healed, after you've done some work on yourself, and ask yourself 3 questions. You can use these questions in any scenario. What went well in that marriage if you went through a divorce? What went well? And then ask yourself, what didn't go well? And lean into that. Get everything in that one. Squeeze it until you're done. Because here's the thing. If you're planning to get married again and planning to get in another relationship, you don't want to go into another one with the same mistake that was in the old one. So until you get present to the things that you know in you taking accountability for yourself, you taking responsibility for your actions, identifying the things that didn't go well versus accepting all the blame and everything else everyone is trying to throw on you. You say, that one is not mine, but these right here are mine. And these right here, I am going to ask them, what can I learn from what didn't go well? What was my part in it? And from the time you lean into the lessons, you are giving yourself the power that you need, the fire that you need to bounce back better, bolder, and come out swinging, knowing that success in the next relationship is possible. Anyone have a question in the chat? Any questions? How have you sabotaged yourself? What are those phrases you're saying to yourself? Or maybe something you heard somebody saying about somebody else.
So you mentioned
Sometimes.
failure, right? So this year again, there's so many things people are looking back and say that didn't happen, and I think they're starting to see themselves as the failure because the thing was not achieved, right? Or the promotion they were waiting for. Right now, it's like whatever you were gonna get. Technically, most people would know what is the reward, right? So when you don't get it, especially when you don't get it back to back, the first time, the second time, and that person you mentioned said nothing, because I think people think like, well, just reward me, and they're just waiting to be recognized. So what if now, after so many lack of recognition, now they think, you know what, I'm a failure, I'm a loser because those things don't happen to me like other people
Yeah.
versus, something else, right? Like it's, but they can still be high achieving people, successful people. Like they're still in a high position, but again, that one thing they probably want, even though they're not going after it, now they're seeing themselves like as the failure because they didn't get that.
Yeah. Yeah. And in the reality, a lot of people do that, right? A lot of people do. And that's the first stage. And it's okay to say that, but give it a timeline, whether it's 5 minutes, 5 hours, or 5 days to have your pity party. It's okay. But then, what are you going to do about that? Because you can't stay there. It's okay to be knocked down. It's okay to be disappointed. But what's not okay is for you staying there. So my comeback as a coach, you come to me and you share with me this gut punch that you got. And I say, you know what? I feel it for you, especially after you give me all the receipts. I did this. I did that. I'm doing 5 people's job. And that's what one of my clients told me the other day. I said, when do you sleep? I'm done this and this. And it was, the carrot was dangling multiple times and yet nothing happened. I feel like I'm a failure. I said, okay. All right. I hear you. And then I help them to see, if you distance yourself from the failure, I'm going to use my right hand. If you say that there is a failure and not me, it gives you, there's a gap between you and that thing that you didn't have, that thing that didn't happen for you, that thing that you didn't get. So in that gap are the lessons. What did you learn? What's your takeaway? Again, asking those 3 questions. What did you learn in the gap? And now take the lessons from the gap and apply it to how are you going to move forward? Because when we can distance ourselves from what didn't work, then we can detach the failure and realize maybe there's a method of the behavior that I just didn't do. I wasn't present to. I didn't understand. I missed a point, or yes, they wronged me. And that right there, I'm not going to give away my gifts, my talents free. Again, I'm going to set boundaries. I'm no longer going to take these calls after hours. I'm no longer going to answer emails. I'm no longer going to take on 5 stretch assignment and make myself sick because I don't have enough time to rest. What are those things you're no longer going to do? Because that's what caused the failure. You're not the failure. There were behaviors that you needed to adjust or let go or not engage in, but you did. So we have to assess, do an assessment after you get this gut punch of a disappointment, and then distance yourself from the disappointment to see what was missing. And now that you know what's missing, how are you going to move forward? And a coach like myself can help you to create that roadmap, to create the outcome, the process, the solution focus that you want to have. Right? Welcome, Bailey. Was that helpful? Any other question in the chat? Any other questions? We want to go into 2026 armed and dangerous in the sense of winning, in the sense of being successful in the areas of your life, for your health and wellness, for your relationships, in your work, in your finances, right? In your spiritual journey. What do you want to experience? What just didn't happen for you in 2025? You have to have that assessment. You have to look at yourself, because how many of you know New Year's resolutions don't work if you don't work them? They don't work. Not because you say, I'm going to have this by this date. That means it's going to happen. It's just going to drop from the sky. No. You're going to have that by that date if you put in the work. Do you have a process? Do you have a system? Do you have a roadmap? Do you have an identifier that identifies the gap when something is not happening? What do you have? Welcome, Christian. Welcome, Usher. It's so important that we know what are those things that we're not going to put up with anymore. So the thing that we're talking about right now is, what are those limiting beliefs, those sabotage, those insecurities that has robbed you in 2025? Or maybe they've been robbing you for a while and you said, today and no more. Enough is enough. You're not doing this anymore. And two phrases that we threw out there, you may have your own, and please share it. I don't know enough yet. That one held me for a long time. I don't know enough yet. And who am I to do this? You're belittling yourself. I did that for a long time because I thought I needed more degrees. I thought I needed more certifications. And all of that was just sabotaging me and robbing me of the future that I wanted, the outcome that I wanted. And as I look to wrap up, I just want to share with those of you who are joining, I am having a workshop on January 20th, virtually. And the space, they're going really fast, and I would love for you to grab your seat and share it with 5 of your friends. The link is in my bio. I would love to meet you on January 20th. I'm doing a workshop on how to have the best year ever. And in order to have the best year ever, you've got to take a look at what does that look like? What does that 2026 being the best year ever? What does it look like? What do you want to experience in that? So click the link in my bio and I will meet you all here another day during this week. I don't know when again, but click the link and join me over there and help me spread the word. Share it with 5 of your friends. If you want to experience something different, something bolder, something more robust, where you're walking in your gift, you're being authentic, you're adding value to those who you're assigned to add value to. You're making a difference. You're creating legacy. Because how many of you know legacy is not just the tangible? It's not just money. Legacy is all the lives that you have touched. Who do you want to be known as? What's your brand when you're no longer in the room? When you have been in the space and you exit the space, what do you want them to say about you? How do you want to be remembered? Do you want to only be remembered to be the naysayer or the person who is I forget the phrase, the negative one, who's always saying, oh, I can't do that. I'm not enough. I don't know how. I don't know enough yet. I don't have the degree. Do you want to be known as that person? Or do you want to be known as a person with a growth mindset that says, you know what? I don't know how to do it yet, but I'm going to find out. I'm going to read it. I'm going to research it. I'm going to call somebody. I am going to go on one of the what you call it? The ChatGPT spaces or wherever we need to go. Google it and find out who's doing it. Let me go learn from them. Is there a book? Is there a seminar? Is there a webinar? Some ways to get the information you need. It is time for us to stop making excuses and blaming other people because we didn't succeed. Between today and the next few days, I would suggest that you set some time in your calendar for about half an hour. You can do it for longer and get present to these 4 areas of your life. What did you experience in 2025 in your health and wellness? What did you experience in your relationships? What did you experience in your finances? And your finances could do with your business or your 9 to 5, the work that you're doing. What did you experience in your spiritual experience? Get present to it. And ask what went well in each of those areas and what didn't go well and what can I learn from what didn't go well. And then once you get present to all of that, then what you need to do is now say, what do I want for 2026? How can I have the best year ever? And that would give you an opening as to what we can talk about as we connect in the space on January 20th. I would love to meet you and 5 of your friends. I thank you all so much for joining me today. I thank you for being here. I thank you for the contribution in the questions that I had from Talk with Marie and Coach Yvette. I thank you all so much for, I know we're having some challenges with the internet and stuff here, but again, I thank you all. Some of you have, what you call it, names that I'm not really able to pronounce, but I thank you all for being here. Your handles are very unique to you, but just know that I see you and I appreciate you showing up for our session today. And go ahead and click the link in the bio. Click the link, and so that we can continue the conversation in January. I will be back before January, but I'm setting the stage. Grab your seats because they're moving fast, and I want to make sure that I meet you there live and we can create your best year ever. I am your coach. I am your sister, and I want you to know that I see greatness down on the inside of you. It's possible. Just look at the word impossible and create space between the M and the P, and then zoom out and look, and you will see you are possible. Repeat after me. I am possible. And you are. Yes, indeed. We'll talk soon. Have a good evening. Bye for now.